Welcome back. Depending on who you believe, renters make bad neighbors and bad neighborhoods due to their short-term values during their brief stays in homes that don't belong to them. Meanwhile, some owners/investors are only concerned about making money, right? So, true or false? Here to help us understand both sides of this issue, because there are two sides, is real estate expert John Adams. John, how are you today?
I am well, thank you. Back from New Orleans, feeling great.
Yeah, well, that always feels good to have some good food in New Orleans, right? All
right,
renters, second-class citizens?
I don't think so, and I think there's an unrealistic fear on the part of many owners that renters bring down property values. There are no studies to justify that. Nobody has proved that in any way. But there is a delicate balance. You don't want a neighborhood that's 90% renters, because then the owners say, well, I don't want to live here anymore. And they move on and you have nothing in terms of anchor. So there are two sides to the issue.
Yeah, and this is not a new issue either. This is age old, right?
This goes back to the caveman bug. I think the first caveman didn't want somebody renting his cave during the off season, so he said no rentals. That upset the next caveman. So who knows? It's been going on for a while.
Well, let's talk about the unhappy owner-occupant and the neighbors who are renters. So what's the relationship?
Well, if you're an owner-occupant, you have sunk your life savings into this house. You got your kids in the schools. You're really committed to the neighborhood, and you want your house to look top dollar all the time, because this is probably your biggest investment.
Right.
In contrast, you're looking next door, and here's somebody paying a paltry amount of rent. They don't take care of the property. The landlord says it's not my job. Talk to the tenant, and things aren't getting done. And they say, is this bringing down values in the neighborhood? That's a legitimate concern.
All right, so we're talking about, is this fair? Is this assessment fair?
Well, I'm not sure fair is an issue, Buck, that I can determine.
Right.
You've got different perspectives, and I understand that. I do think it's important to point out, at least in my personal opinion, I've been in real estate a long time, renters bring a unique weave to the fabric of any neighborhood. And I think that's a good thing. You know, in Atlanta, we've benefited, I think, a lot from the diversity that has made this a great community to live in. Renters are part of that. And the next thing is, many communities feel like if you can take those renters and sort of bring them along, they'll become homeowners. Once they see what a great neighborhood this is, they're going to want to live there permanently. So you've got 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. I'm not sure what the proper answer is here, but it's interesting. Many lenders, particularly in a condominium community, if you have more than 25% renters, banks will not lend on any condominium there. That starts sort of a death spiral where nobody can get financing. They have to rent. That adds to the number of renters. Pretty soon you end up with 100% renters in a condominium complex. It's not a good scene. Well, so there's a balance there.
And not all renters are created equal, just like not all landlords are created equal. What's the renter's perspective? Hey, you know, I pay for this place too. This is my home.
Well, and the renter's position is I pay my rent. I have a right to be here. I'll take care of the property, but you can't expect, I just don't think it's realistic ever to expect a renter to put the same level of heart and soul into a house that an owner would, because they're just not going to be there that long.
So is there a solution here? I mean, what do we do?
Well, I don't know what the answer is. I think it's important that both renters and buyers be informed as they research communities as to what percentages are renter, what percentages are owner-occupant. It's pretty easy to tell. If you go down to the courthouse, you can look and see where the tax bills are sent. If they're sent to the property, typically that's an owner. If they're sent to Pinehurst, North Carolina, that's usually a renter. So you just get an idea of the neighborhood, and if you're comfortable with it, more power to you. Different people are going to have different desires, and the wonderful thing in Atlanta is we have a tremendous selection of communities, condominiums, associations, something to fit everybody's need.
Yeah, in a perfect world, it works both ways. The renter gets what he wants, the landlord gets what he wants.
That's what we try to do in real estate.
All right, John, thanks a lot, and we appreciate you joining us today. 8:42 is your time. Coming up on Good Day Atlanta. Roswell Restaurant.